Righto. Good afternoon once again. Welcome to episode 4. Episode 4 is going to be the star of the show. It is going to be brisket. Good old beef brisket. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the entire process that I follow with, from delivery to prepping, trimming, seasoning, getting it on the smoker, and going through the whole process. So, this is the start of 12 to 14, 15, 16 hour process. It depends on how long it takes for this brisket to be finished. But this is it. Put your seatbelt on. Off we go. Episode 4, brisket. Okay, so welcome back. We'll go through this process now of getting this get this brisket sorted. So I get all of our brisket from the same supplier, a great supplier. They know what we want. They send us great quality, so we can almost rely on the same thing time after time. I think it's also a good time to note these are not packer briskets, obviously, for anyone that knows brisket. These are just your general flat briskets. So obviously when they're getting trimmed up, they're going to look different than the packers, but nonetheless, these are our briskets, look really good. This bad boy is 6 kilos, so nice size brisket to get going with. So first off, let's get rid of all this plastic off of here. Basically, as you can see, when I start this process, I like to start off with 2 different bowls. So one of the bowls is for the waste. The other bowl is going to be for the good stuff that's going into the freezer for burger and sausage, which is obviously going to be on future videos. So this is our brisket. Again, nice size. Got a couple of bash and slash marks in it, but we'll sort him out. So I like to trim my brisket up with the slicer. I used to use a boning knife for it, fiddling knife, but I found with the slicer you've got more real estate. I just found I can trim it up better, possibly even quicker as well. So let's get this bad boy trimmed up for the pit. So first off, just want to get rid of that end bit off of there. The end bit on there is just going to burn up, and it's really thin, so yeah, it's just going to burn up and it's not going to be good. So get rid of that end bit. So there's no heavy fat on there, so the end bit's going to go straight into the burger and the sausage pot. Just round it up. Now keep in mind, guys, we're not at competition here. We're not at fine dining, 7-star restaurant. So basically we're just getting this trimmed up, get any hard fat off. All this soft stuff here, it stays, it goes for protection on the smoker, but it's just getting like this hard stuff off here. So I'll keep a little bit of that. So a little bit of that will go into the burger and the sausage. You've got to make sure we like to get as close as we can to like 70-30. So some of it stays, but it's just, nothing special, nothing fantastic. Just get it a little bit aerodynamic so the smoke moves around the smoker nicely, moves around the brisket nicely. So just getting all this hard fat off. So that can stay in there as well. So that's probably about as much fat as I'll put in there off of this one brisket. Otherwise we'll be overloading the damn bad boy. But yeah, so I'll bring you back in a minute when we get onto the other side and get this bad boy sorted out a bit. All right, so we've just about finished trimming up this. This would be the presentation side, if you will. This would be the side that goes up in the smoker. So I'll just get rid of this hard little bit of yucky stuff there. We don't want that going in our burger and sausage. Well, I don't anyway. I like to be in full control of what goes in. It's part of the fun of making your own stuff. So it's, you know, you're using best quality ingredients. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. So basically this first side, presentation side of the brisket is almost done. I'm just going to take off these couple bits here. There's a little bit hiding inside here. Just get that off. You don't want to go crazy and take it all off. You know, you want your brisket to be nice and juicy and yeah, gelatinous, and you know, you want your brisket to be brisket. If you're gonna sit here and take everything off, you know, you run the risk of drying it out and getting a tougher bit of meat. The idea of spending 12, 14 hours getting a brisket done is so you've got the mouth-watering, gelatinous, smoky, you know, beautiful. Sometimes I like to call them like meat custard. But yeah, so a little bit of silver skin come off. So you know, that's the first side. Oh, sorry, Fred, got the dog at my feet as usual when it's brisket time. So that's the first side, presentation side. So we flip this bad boy over, and there's, as on the second side, there's not a hell of a lot of trimming. So on these flat briskets, you don't get a massive fat cap to work with. So obviously, you know, you only take off what you need to take off. So, and you know, we're just about there, to be fair, out of this 6 kilo brisket. We haven't really trashed up that much waste. You know, got some nice meat there for burger and sausage. Let's get rid of this last bit here. This is the hard stuff. This stuff doesn't render down. Even through a 16-20 hour smoke, this hard fat, it doesn't render. It just comes out just a big fat horrible piece of yuck. Who wants to be eating that? You spend 16 hours doing this. You want to be you want to have a great finished product. You want people to, you know, enjoy the fruits of your labours. This for us as pit masters, this is basically an art form for us. So you want it the best that you can get it. Okay, so that's it. That is our brisket trimmed. There's not a lot more to do with that. The fat that's left on there now, that'll render out. So next step is seasoning. All right, here we go. We've got our brisket that we just trimmed up. So the next stage of the process now is to get this bad boy seasoned up. So back in the day when we first started, obviously I was and keen, and I was spending a lot of money on buying all the different seasonings that you can, as you do when you start, I guess. But for at least the last 12 months anyway, we've been running with my own that I make myself. So basically, this is a mixture of kosher salt, coarse sea salt, some ground black pepper, garlic, espresso coffee, a little bit of brown sugar, and garlic. And this is the same seasoning rub that I use on my briskets. I do have another rub that's a little bit more intense that I use on stuff like beef short ribs, but that's for another day. This is brisket. Okay, so for a binder, do you need a binder? Yeah, it's debatable. I think it depends on your brisket. I have tried and I've used mustard a few times. I don't find that it adds any value. Most of the time I use either straight out water, I will use apple juice, or I'll use Worcester sauce. And I find that I enjoy using the Worcester sauce. I think it helps with the bark. And the mustard doesn't really add anything to the flavour. I think the Worcester sauce actually does penetrate into the meat a little bit, into the fibres. And I believe, and this is just my own opinion, I do believe you do get a little bit of the flavour through. So nothing fantastic, just all over your, nicely trimmed brisket. There we are, it's all covered. So then you go on then with your seasoning rub of your choice, whatever you prefer to use. And you want to give it a good coat, yeah, good coat. The better quality of rub that you put down the coat of your rub goes a long way to what kind of bark you're going to get on the end product. And for anyone that knows smoked brisket, smoked meat, the bark's it's how your brisket's measured, not only the taste and the, how lovely and lush it is. It's the bark that gives a lot of extra taste. So again, we're not in a restaurant, we're not fine dining, we're not in a competition. So that's side one. Flip him over. So now we've got the presentation side back again. And I trim it and season it in this way. So when you flip it back over to the second side of your rub, seasoning, binder, whichever it is that you're doing, you've got the presentation side up, and this is the way you're going to transport it out to the smoker. So presentation side's not getting dragged across the board or whatever else, ruining your chances of getting a nice, sexy bark up there. Just take this off here. Just annoy me a little bit. So we go. Bit of sauce, then we come back with our rub again, our homegrown. This is the actual stuff that we sell. This is the brisket dust, beef and hog dust. Same thing, we're just waiting. You're using up the old labels, and the old labels say beef and hog dust. New labels say brisket dust, because we have our piggy powder as well. So this is the actual brisket dust that we sell at the markets. We sell at events. Basically, wherever the food truck goes, if we've got it in stock, we sell it. So again, nice coverage, yeah. And I am happy with that. So we shall go and fire up the pit. Okay, so now we're out at the pit. So this is one of them. We have a couple of smokers, as you guys know. So this is the old Oklahoma Joe. This fella does most of our briskets. As you can see, there's no glitzy, glamorous, stuff out here. This is bare bones, real life. How we do it. So we're going to get this. This bad boy breathing now while the brisket's in there, letting the rub seasoning penetrate into the meat. So there's a couple of those little sausages up there. Okay. Close out some of the old charcoal steaks. Charcoal's getting more expensive like these days. There we go, she's nicely full. Okay, so we done some cooking yesterday, as you can see. We done a load of ribs, we done a load of armadillo eggs, we done some Twinkies. So we had a good old cook up yesterday. So that can just sit there now until all the coals go red hot and white. Before it gets too freaky out there, we'll get a nice little coal bed now. Nothing too insane. I don't want it to go setting out no Apache smoke signals here. So you want to burn as clean as smoke as possible, so you've got the best tasting brisket you can possibly get. So this is going to put a couple little bits of oil there to get it going. Use oak predominantly. We do play around sometimes and use a little bit of apple, cherry, but 95% we use oak. So we'll let this get going and we'll be back. Okay, the old pit's up to temp now, so just before we head out, a couple of different ways that we keep the temperature checks and recorded is safety. We do have the 4Pro Bluetooth Inkbird, which is good if you're doing multiple food items at the same time, especially when I'm using the other pit that has 3 different levels inside, so you can monitor all 4 probes from the comfort of your bed. But since we're just doing this brisket here today, we're going to go back to the good old faithful. Yep, it's the one. Right, let's head out the pit. Righto, here we are, we're back out of the pit now. So our coals are ready to go. They're white hot. So you can see, no glitz, no glamour. I melted the handle a couple of weeks ago. We're still using it, but I've learned, get the glove on, get the glove on. So you just tip that in your coal bed, like so. Yeah, and give her a bit of a poke around. And Joe's your smoker. So now we'll let this come up to temp. All right, perfect timing. So we're rocking around 250. So we work in Fahrenheit, we like being old school. Nice clean smoke, so it's white, it's not thick grey, blue, black smoke. Nice white smoke, clean smoke. So we're rocking 250. It's cook time. Let's go get the brisket. Okay, so brisket's on now. fat end down towards the fire. Down there we've got like 3 little water pans just for a bit of extra moisture in the chamber. But yeah, brisket's on. This is the start of a 14, 15, 16 hour process. So now the temperature will climb back up. Go between 200, 250. Should stay around 250. At least for, so we'll keep the temperature around 250, at least until we wrap. So we'll wrap it when we get an internal temp of around 170. So for now, that's it for the brisket. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, no glitz glamour. It's play by play, the way it goes down. Thanks for joining me. All right, so we're back. It's about getting close to 8:30. So we're like 7.5 hours in. Temps still around 250, 275. So after 7.5 hours, let's have a look, see. Yeah, she's starting to look pretty good. Let's get the old that temperature in there and see if she's getting up around as close to 170 yet. So there's 145. Yeah, we still got a Okay, welcome back. So for the next stages, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. She's come up to temperature. It's about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So we just got a double length of foil each way, so we get a nice tight wrap. Don't lose any of the juices out of it. So we just wrap as such. So we'll keep this wrapped up now and on the pit now till it gets to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll pull it off and it'll sit for 3 or 4 hours. So give it a nice tight wrap. You don't lose none of those juices in there. And essentially that's it. So he's wrapped up nice and tight, no leakages. So it should go back on the pit now until it gets to about 200 degrees. And then we'll pull it out and we'll rest it and we'll cut this bad boy open and give you a look inside. See you soon. All right, welcome back. So now brisket's got up to 202. It's rested for pretty close to an hour. So let's have a look inside this bad boy. Plenty of juices. Right, let's cut this bad boy open and let's have a look see. Beautiful smoke ring. This is like 13 hours on the smoker. Beautiful smoke ring. Look at the moisture in there, look. Look at that. Hey? It doesn't get much better than that. So that's the brisket process, 12, 13 hours. We've been through all the steps. That's it. Game over. Brisket. That's a wrap. Thank you very much for joining us.